More than 2.3 million people are incarcerated nationwide, and here in Pennsylvania alone, 92,000 people are behind bars. When we went out on the streets in Pittsburgh and Market Square to talk to people about God, the church, and culture, we ran into a young man who recently was released from prison. His name is Junior, and the things that he had to say were eye-opening. Tell us about your viewpoint and how you really look at Christians.
Okay, well first, my faith in God was down a little bit. My brother OD'd on fentanyl, so I blame God for a lot of that. But as I came from upstate, Camp Hill, it's a SCI, incarceration. I went to jail for possession with intent. But as my time there, it gave me a lot of time to sit back and realize what I've been through and put my more faith in God, find my higher power. And Christians, they're very kind, caring people. From my experiences, they're down, willing to help anybody in need. With me coming out of state, I don't have a job yet, but when I go to church, so many people are giving me connections and to let me know that there's help out there if I need it. So I think they're very caring, loving people.
Well, I just want to say I'm so sorry to hear about your brother that passed away. What was his name? How old was he?
He died, he was 27. He died January 17th.
Sorry, what was his name?
Michael.
Michael. Sorry to hear about your brother passing away. And it's so interesting, because you hear a lot of times when people spend time behind bars and locked up, that it's you're away from the world and have a lot of time to think about different things and save.
Absolutely. Yeah. And even though upstate are religious, they only let you out for an hour on Sundays, but we get a prayer circle around out in the yard. So a lot of people talk about what they've been through, their grief, their guilt. So it's really humbling experience. Even though a lot of people think of criminals as these bad people, but they realize their mistakes, and once they ask God for forgiveness, they find a light. So it really gives me hope for the future.
So how did you get over, you're going through the grief of losing your brother, and how did that that forgiveness you have towards God, or the hurt that you have with God, how did that kind of heal?
I read a couple verses. Everything happens for a reason. God has a journey for us, and He won't give you too much that you can't handle. So how I got through it, I just accepted it and put my faith into Him, let Him take the wheel, because I can't do everything I want to do without Jesus by my side.
So I was going to ask you, from your experience, how relevant do you feel the church is today?
Today, I feel in our community, they do try to help out a lot, but I think if they do more outside meetings and get involved with the people, there actually be more people who want to attend the church and hear the praise, but so many people are nervous to actually go inside. So if we bring Jesus to them, I think more people will be open and willing.
Do you mean go inside? Would you say inside jails, or just go outside wherever?
Jails, absolutely, they could use more people, but anywhere, even at the parks, a lot of areas, they want to stay away from, Hazelwood and that, because there's a lot of drug activity, but that's not everybody there. So if you just come forth and let them know that, hey, God's here, we're here, come and pray, maybe you have a little cookout, I think the kids, they'll start off at a young age and follow in their faith.
What would you say, if you had a message to speak to some people, because we have a lot at Cornerstone, we're a Christian TV network, and we have a lot of Christians that watch and view. If you could say something as somebody who's, you were mad at God, you went through a hardship with losing your brother, and then you're in prison, and that's where you saw the love of Jesus. But from your perspective and your vantage point, what would you say to Christians this is how we need to change, or this is what, men like me need?
Yeah, men like me, even though you may blame God for some things, we got a forgiving God. And you might lose a little bit of faith, but no, that door is always open to you. Never be too shameful, never be too scared to let Jesus back into your life.
And so what's it like for you now being in free, not behind prison doors, and now you're just out here and like ready
I'm
to
blessed. I am so blessed. You got this fresh air, people around, and it's very humbling.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Junior. So that's it.
welcome.
Yeah. What Junior had to say really touched my heart. I think a lot of times when it comes to prisoners or people who are incarcerated, we have sort of a negative stereotype behind them. And it's amazing that Jesus loves them just as much too and comes behind bars and touches them and encourages, inspires them. So it was really nice to hear Junior's story and what he shared with us on the streets. And I think it's important for us as Christians to get out of our comfort zone, to get out of the walls of the church, and to do what Junior encouraged us to do as the church, and to go into the places that no one wants to go, and to bring the love of Jesus there, because that's where the hope really needs to be heard.